Hi, I'm Tim Roble, and welcome to another episode of Adventure Athlete. We're the Sunday before the Friday coming up on King of the Hammers, if that all made sense. I've been back in town from the RTR a full week, and I've put in a solid 10 to 12 hours a day of work, mostly on client stuff, trying to get him all squared away before I take off for this next trip. But let me show you what I've been working on. So here we have the Can-Am. It's Sunday right now, and have the Can-Am making some changes and some updates to it. I should have known who I am and my ability not to leave something stock. So I have the passenger seat out of it. I'm getting ready to do some wiring. I have the exhaust out of it, which you can see over on this side. So I'm going to run the exhaust on this coming out, and then it's going to terminate in this area over here. Still doing a little bit of work on the cage. As you know, Can-Am comes with a bolt-on back half. It's kind of runs a support off of this. It's super lightweight, about 60 thousandths tubing, and it just runs down, and after you take this plastic tray out, it just kind of flops around. So that wasn't any good for what I was looking to do. So my thoughts on that whole equation was to add some bars and get my spare tire down low. So now my spare sits below this rear shelf. A little bit more better visibility out of it. Still going to work on something for this S&B particle separator. I'd like to get that down out of the way also, so you'd have a clean look trying to back up or something in the rocks. As these tubes terminate here, you can kind of see the wall thickness isn't super thick, but I feel pretty secure in that cage so far. I did use DOM 1 3/4 by 95 wall for that. Eventually I will do my own cage. I'll just come in here and cut this out and then add all of my tubing for the cage. So that's to come on the car. I'm going to get rid of all of this bolt-on stuff, but I am going to keep this factory roof because it is slick. And being totally honest, I'll probably just come in here and go from A to B pillars. I'll put a nice radius in it, just like the factory cage, but I'll build it out of 1 3/4. These A to B pillars are going to be out of 120 wall, which I just checked out. That happens to be a race spec for these now. It doesn't say that it had to be 1 3/4, but it said it had to be a 120 wall over the driver's side. So I'll do driver and passenger, probably string it together with 120 also, and then I'll do some factory 1.5 by 120 for the top in case the thing gets upside down in the rocks. I have to say, every off-road car I've owned, I have rolled at least on its side. It's just part of what you're doing for rock crawling. If you're not rolling stuff, you're probably not really pushing it hard enough or learning the car. So for me, it's kind of like, no, I don't intend to go out and roll the car, but if I do, I want to be safe. I am signed up to do Rally of the Rocks in May, and I'm looking forward to that. 5 days of side-by-siding out in Moab, Utah, so that should be super cool. Anyway, getting back to the car back here, today's project is going to be to get the jack mounted on some nice tabs right here. So that'll bolt in. It's physically sitting down on the tray. I'll bring it right off that tray just a little bit and then put some tabs on that. The spare goes on here. This is 4130 by 90 thousandths, and that was tough to roll. That took me about a half hour on the roller to get that set up where it is. And then I got to mount plastics. I'll do something like we used to do on the trucks and run some tabs up and mount these plastics. The wheel goes in good. For the termination of the caps up here, you can see this tube over against the wall. It's got a plastic cap in it. I'll probably plastic cap that for now, and then I'm probably leaning towards doing an LED. Gosh, I'm losing my words. An LED brake stoplight up in these pillars. I did want a center mount for the whip, so I got that welded in. So that's where my whip antenna will go for when I do Glamis. Being that I'm already welding on the cage is going to be black, Rust-Oleum Professional, the flat black. I did weld on tabs for my 52-inch curved light bar, and I may put a couple tabs back here. The nice thing about spray paint is you can come in later and you can hit an area, and like you decide you need to run a rock light or something in here, you can put that on, or rock lights up front. So another thing for myself I've noticed is in here is the mirror sits way back, and so I think I'm gonna make some brackets to bring the mirror out till about the windshield. What I will do in the beginning of that process is I will unbolt it and hold it where I think it should be, and then take some measurements, and then I'll make some brackets and cut it out on the Torchmate CNC. So we'll have a sharp looking tab coming off the factory cage. You can see I have my belt temp sensor gauge already mounted, ready to go in. So I got to do the wiring on that. Car's a little dirty right now because I've been using welding blankets to keep the plastic from getting splatter on it. I'll still have to mount my fire extinguisher. I think that's going to go on the B-pillar, and then I'm going to get another one of these setups for out back, probably on driver's side. So I'll have one passenger, one driver. Remember what I always say about fire extinguishers: 2 is 1, 1 is none. My thoughts on a lot of things. For the reservoirs, I kind of have these hanging down here, but my thought processes on that is trying to get this in a spot. That's where the reservoirs are going to go. A lot of you may know one of the things that I do a lot of research. I've been on a lot of the forums and really looking at these cars with people when they wad them up. What do they do? And cage is a little bit of it. Guy just did a slow tip over, and that's when I kind of was key on what was going on this cage back here. You can see by the way that I brought all of this in, this really reinforces this B-pillar a lot. And I got some nice welds. I still got to clean some of this stuff up with a wire wheel, but a lot of people ding this, like just ding a corner on a rollover, and that tube flexes in, and of course the reservoirs are up and exposed. I want to keep everything thinking about, like, if the car does tip over, you want to be able to put it back up on its wheels and not have to really worry about dinging a reservoir. I'm sure that was probably $500 worth of rock damage just on that. Little things, I did pull like the rubber grommets out of this. I haven't done it on that side yet, just to make it a pass-through, but easier to access. I want to be able to work on this car and make things easy. And speaking of working on the car, getting rid of this tray really opened up a lot, especially to vent the heat. The exhaust I did is a straight flow-through design, so that should up the horsepower maybe 5 or so from what I've been reading. I did push this little tab, and this is the output for the belt drive, and I pushed that to kind of get it tucked up as much because the tire goes in here. I did do a little forethinking on the tire. Everything is set up for a 32, but I can go up to a 35 back here and carry a full-size spare. Factory Can-Am lug nuts. I cut this out on the CNC Plasma. And once again, it goes on with an impact. Everything that I've been working on this car right now has come out of the bags that I have set up for the car. Kind of a cool way to do it, because you know that you're always going to have the tools you need because you're working on the car with the tools you need. And if you don't have something, you add. And I got to be honest, there's a few things that are on the list that I'm going to start setting aside to see if I actually need, because there's a few things that I think I don't need in there. So I'm always chasing weight, trying to keep things lightweight, strong. My theory on this whole spare tire thing was to drop it. I had the cool little cage made with the tire up top on top of the tray, but now I moved it down another foot, so I'm still continuing to move everything's centralized, center mass, and as low as possible, and as protected as possible. Like with the reservoirs, I want to keep those protected as much as I can and keep them down low. I mean, this thing probably weighs, I don't know, maybe 5-7 pounds. Why not carry that a little lower? I wanted the jack as low as I could get it. I had it underneath the seat, but I thought that was a little bit troublesome when you had a flat that you have to pull the seat to get to the jack. I decided have everything in a cell, in a kit in the back, and so the back right here will be set up for a flat tire basically. So I'll have a the compressor will be underneath the seat, so if you had to plug something and not change a spare, but everything you need to change the spare is back here. I do carry this Lowe's 24 volt impact, and so far I've liked that. I got lucky enough to test their kit, and I like it. I really like it over I like it over the Makita stuff. I think maybe the Milwaukee is a better unit still so far, but that's been working out really good. So some updates on the trailer. I don't know if I've talked about the trailer or I've actually showed the trailer, but these ramps are 6'3". I did the ramp 6'3" because I'm 6'3", and I may some point in time decide to close this in. It wouldn't take very much to put some siding and a quick little structure on it and close it in. Not sure if that's something I want to do to add the weight to the trailer, but right now the forethought was to do that. I did do expanded mesh. This is number 9, 1.5 pattern, and then I did the tread plate or the diamond plate, and I made these fender wells, bent everything up on the brake, got that set up. You can probably tell that the whole bottom side is painted and done, and you can kind of see that the paint on this is kind of sparse. I'm missing maybe about 6 cans. I use the Rust-Oleum Professional on that. Talking about the tire and wheel package is the exact same tire and wheel and lug pattern as my truck. My truck runs a dual pattern. In the back, I'm 6 on 5.5, and that's what this trailer set up at. I did get this axle that is a 6,000 pound load capacity axle. I flipped the perches to the top because the axle does have a bow in it. So I took the perches from the bottom and then put them up top and then bolted everything together. The trailer actually has a little bit of a dovetail to it, not very much. I wanted approach and departure of the trailer to still be very adequate for off-road. That's why the axle is kind of moved a little bit further forward. With the weight calculations of the Can-Am, I got about, right now, with no fuel in it, I got about a 50-pound tongue weight. With the fuel cans, that's going to add about another 135 pounds. And with the way driving the car directly on, that should give me, if I did my math right, a 200-pound tongue weight going down the road, which is exactly what I was aiming for. Fuel cans, I carry 20 gallons, and I have a rod that goes through directly here so I can lock the fuel into place. I went with heavy duty chains. I think these are something crazy like 6,500 pounds a piece rating, but I just liked the hook on it. It was cool. So I got those. Modified the jack on it, and everything is kind of good to go. I need about 6 more cans of spray paint, and then I'll bolt the lights on. All the tabs are already there, and run the wiring, and she's done. Basically, I got full 5 days to go. I have 2 more days on a client's project, and then Wednesday, Thursday, I will be back on just taking care of details. So Sunday is going to be a busy day. I'll probably do 10 hours a day just to try to get caught up on everything I need to do. That's going to be it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you watching my videos, commenting, thumbs up. I always appreciate. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to leave that here for now. I'm Tim Roble. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you here next time.